Nessa, girl, can you see me? Girl, I'm in here feeling good on a Saturday afternoon. Listen, girl, I'm getting ready to get out here in these streets and Tootsie Roll, fool la la. And bitch, I'm going down about 3 or 4 cars. Where the rich cars be. But I hope these rich cars don't be doctors, honey, because I don't want no kind of married to medicine type marriage, if you catch my drift. You understand what I'm saying? Hang if you can hang, no pain, no gain. I am the only person who will string together any thought with a goddamn poem or a damn R&B song to make my point. Nonetheless, girl, did you get into this reunion of Married to Medicine from last night? Let me tell you something. It is a damn shame that reality TV as a whole is so goddamn fake right now that we get sucked in when we get true emotion from people. The opening scene with Heavenly and subsequently all of the rest of the ladies crying over Simone and Cecil's separation news felt like an episode of This Is Us. See, that's why I had to start watching This Is Us, because that shit was taking me through too many emotional changes way too quickly for any given day of the week. This felt like an episode of This Was Us, and it's so weird because when Heavenly is filming Married to Medicine, you can honestly tell Heavenly keeps things in perspective. She don't take nothing serious. She here to make good TV, then go back to her real life. This was a moment Heavenly couldn't play the character Dr. Heavenly Kimes from Married to Medicine. Heavenly was her most raw, most vulnerable self in this situation. And I really do think it affected Heavenly the most, because Heavenly truly believes in the sanctity of marriage. And that thing right there hurt her. It hurt me too to see Heavenly crying like that. Dr. Simone. Oh, God. I hate to use the word I'm about to use, because now that we live in this old fake woke generation, the moment you use the word angry and then you put another black woman in the same sentence, here come the woke mob screaming, why you had to use that word? Here you go painting the stereotype of it. And it ain't even none of that. Like, y'all go sit y'all woke asses the fuck down, okay? Simone came off to me as if she is very upset about something. And rightfully so. Your marriage is on the fritz, so she's got a lot to be mad about. But it just seems like she's unable to talk about the situation without getting riled up and then yelling. And while we're used to Simone yelling, it just perplexes me that at this far in the game, Simone hasn't gained control yet of being able to contain herself. And it's funny because I love the scenes where like a fight happened and the next day Dr. Simone will go to lunch with Toya or Quan. She's able to eloquently articulate herself so well and find the words. Simone does a very good job of putting feelings to words. But sometimes when she's in the moment, she do all that yelling. And I'm just like, when she was yelling at Toya and this person and that person, I was like, you know, damn, are you mad with Toya? Are you mad with Cecil? Are you mad with God? Like, who is you really mad with? Now, Toya, what Toya does a very poor job of doing is timing. Toya, that was not the moment. Dr. Simone used a very strong word, which was criticized. I don't feel like Toya was criticizing Dr. Simone. I feel like Toya was just inquiring and just wanted to make sure you were making the right decision. And yeah, it came off a little fault finding and it came off a little blamish or whatever. But I dig it. Dr. Jackie, she pulled a Marlo Hampton move. Flew her ass over from that side of the sofa over to this side of the sofa. You see, Toya ass didn't even go over. Toya was like, I'm not budging. And I get the whole thing. I get the whole Dr. Jackie, it's my job to take care of everybody. I'm going to be here for you. But like in the grand scheme of life, what did getting up from your sofa and sitting on her sofa and now crowding her while she's trying to talk, what did that accomplish? And see, I have a theory about people who fuss and fight. You ever notice when two people are arguing and a third person gets into the middle under the auspice of breaking it up, it makes it worse. So like, I have a thing, psychologically, this is what I do. When I'm in a room and two people are fussing, I tell everybody around that's watching, come on y'all, let's walk off. And I can guarantee you the next time you got two friends fussing and everybody walk off, they'll instantaneously stop. And here's why. Here's the psychology between fussing in front of people. Because you're trying to prove that you're right in front of a crowd of people. So if the crowd removes themselves, it removes all temptation for you to continue arguing to prove your point. I said all of that to say, Dr. Jackie moving over there by Simone did not make anything better. If at anything, it made it worse, because now Simone was like, I really got to get my point across, and I'm finna yell from around her and start flailing my arms and all this stuff, Toya, and you criticize, and you move, Jackie, and you criticizing me. You're criticizing, you know, it made it worse. If you were there for emotional support, you should have been able to rein her in from across the sofa. That's my only point. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to knock it. You know your friendship better than I do, and you were being a good friend by the standard of you guys' friendship. Let me be fair here without reading. When Bravo Andy went to Mariah's dressing room, okay? And she explained why she was upset. And from my understanding, it was because Heavenly did something to her and no one got on Heavenly. But when she does something, everyone jumps on her. Period. Hard stop. Okay? In support of Mariah, I totally understand her sentiments. Okay, now that's all y'all getting out of me in support of Mariah. What Mariah fails to understand is that no one supports you or comes to your defense because no one likes you. And that's just the bottom line. So when Heavenly defaced your poster, low key, that whole group of women, they thought it was funny. And I'm gonna take it a step further. That whole group of women, because they don't like you, they delight in the fact that you're upset. They like that. They like when you're mad. They like when you feel hurt. And they really don't give a damn about your feelings because they don't like you. You know what I'm saying? The whole group doesn't like you. So while I get that there's a double standard in certain instances, and I agree that there is, but the baseline of the root of it all is they don't like you, Mariah. So for you to be upset about the fact that no one came to your defense, I get it. But do you honestly expect a group of women who feel like you have wronged them first to come to your defense? They don't like you. Why would they? And I think you need to stop expecting them to. And did you catch, I guess to prove her point, she was like, Jackie, you always call me out when I'm wrong. You need to call out Heavenly. Yes, they all said Heavenly was wrong. But at the end of the day, and I'm sorry, and maybe this is the biased part of me, her drawing that smiley face on it, I'm with Heavenly. The shit just wasn't that real. It wasn't that real. It was fun. It wasn't that real. And Andy, I don't like the fact that you was in there trying to get Heavenly together about a poster. And Andy, you were only doing that because Mariah had goddamn annoyed you so bad in the background about no one ever gets on her. No one ever gets on her. So you felt pressured to have to chastise Heavenly for writing on a poster. The whole thing was just a mess. And what I am glad about is that Heavenly didn't backpedal and give the fake proverbial, you know, I'm sorry when you really ain't sorry and meant everything you did. Curtis was supposed to love me. And if he's not gonna love me, then Curtis is supposed to understand that unfortunately, this season, he's not allowed to have any feelings about anything. Now, maybe next season, he can start slowly inching his feelings back into things. But here's what I don't like. I don't like the fact that Curtis felt it prudent to check Eugene. or not check, because he was respectful. Let me not use the word check. I don't like the fact that Curtis felt like Eugene had wronged him in some capacity. Yeah, Eugene told a couple jokes, but the only reason that the jokes stung was because of what you were going through. I don't think that Eugene was overly mean. I don't think Eugene was overly aggravating or nagging about the situation. He most definitely did not go the places he could not go. I think Eugene simply expressed his distaste for the situation. And Curtis, I'm sorry. Just because we boys does not mean I'm gonna co-sign you with your bullshit in that marriage. And I had to tell one of my homegirls this, and this is one of the downfall, I think, for heterosexual and straight men. As men, we grow up in barbershops and we grow up in bars, and let's face it, the reality of the situation is we live in a world where women live up to the expectations of their friend groups and other women, and men do the same. In my 34 years of life, I have never been in an all-male space where I have heard another man, another black man, check another black man for cheating on his wife. To the contrary, I have been in many spaces where men support other men in cheating. They laugh, they make jokes, they slap five. I'm telling y'all, it doesn't exist. Now, for those of my men followers that viewers that watch my videos, maybe you have, but it is not customary for men as a whole to check other men about their side bitches, their side pieces. I'm gonna tell you something. All that activity, Greg going down to the hotel with other women and stuff, I can assure you, other men in that men group knew. What Curtis was doing, other men in that group, they knew. That's the way men roll. The shit is celebrated amongst straight men friend groups. And so I think that's a large part of the reason why Curtis was upset. Because he's like, wait, you supposed to be one of the boys. You breaking bro code. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad, but y'all, I'm just for real. I've never been in the barbershop, at the bar, or anywhere where a man been fussing with his side piece or something, and the other dudes around be like, well, you know what? You could mitigate all of this by not having a side piece. Instead, they be like, hey, my nigga, yeah, man, why she tripping? Dude, yeah, yo, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, they support the shit. So, men, that's something that we, y'all, need to really sit down and discuss, but we'll save that for another video. I'm trying to think. What else made me feel something? That was Curtis. Dr. Damon. Dr. Damon is officially my favorite character on Married to Medicine. Let me tell you one thing. Heavenly better call that man daddy, because she got a good man, Savannah. Dr. Damon is a silent threat. What I like about Dr. Damon is he's not reactionary. He sits down, he analyzes things, and when he comes back, he has something poignant to say. The way he spoke on Simone and Cecil's marriage when they was down to that bar with all the rich cars be, but I don't want they forever because it don't last always, according to Jasmine Sullivan. Nonetheless, he spoke so well on the situation and just made a lot of things make sense in it. I'm going to tell y'all something else. This was the first episode that I knew what Dr. Contessa's husband's name was, and it actually stuck to me. When Andy was like, Dr. Scott, how do you feel about something? That's the first time that his name got with me, and now I'm going to remember it forever. Curtis and Jackie portion of the reunion. When they brought the guys finished and they came back out. For one, I love how Andy said to Jackie, what do you tell a patient when they're about to get a shot, about to go through some pain? And he had enough respect for Jackie to say, all right, girl, we're getting ready to move into the portion that's really going to challenge your ability to handle this with grace under fire. And Jackie and Curtis both pulled out very great. What I like about this reunion, now what's messy as fuck that Bravo do is y'all pawn off the messy ass questions on these fake Twitter people. But I love the fact that Andy was able to ask the questions people really wanted to know. And Jackie and Curtis handled it both with grace. This is the most vulnerable and accepting of the situation I've seen Curtis be in a very long time, because the whole while Curtis has been very defensive, and rightfully so. This is a hard thing to go through. Moving right along to Quad and Dr. G. That situation, listen, I gotta throw my phone down now. So I got a lot to say about this. All season we have heard Quad. I got a friend named Quad, my bad. Shouts out to Shanika Arline, Quad that do nails down in Miami. All season we have heard Quad rah about appreciation. Okay? I love how Eugene was like, as a man, as a husband, I'm still having a hard time figuring out what it is you're talking about. For the first time in my life, I got an understanding of what is partially bothering Quad. When she gave the whole analogy about, I'm running around for your office, I'm stressed out for you, you snap at me and was like, you act like it's your office, and that was a blow to her. I think what Quad is saying is that that same thunderous support that she gives Dr. G, she wants him to be equally as excited and supportive on her endeavors. But the issue has been Dr. G doesn't value what it is Quad does. Many people don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, those doctors on that show didn't value Toya and Quad. And for whatever reason, we as a society, because I'm even guilty of it, we don't view people doing reality television as a job. We view it as something that is glamorous and fun and pays a lot of money that people would not make in any other capacity. Like the type of money that people make in reality TV for the type of work that they're doing, you would never make that much money in the open marketplace. And that's just true facts. Not being no lawyer, no doctor, and then coupled with the fact that you're making this kind of money and don't have the education behind it to support that salary, a lot of people feel like at the end of the day, you got a cake job. Like, how hard is it to go to dinner, get dressed, put on makeup, and go fuss with a bunch of bitches? That's a general outlook. And I think what Quad is saying is, this is still a job. And no matter how vain the job might be, how petty looking the job might be, I just want you to support what it is I'm doing equally as much as I support what you're doing. But here's the thing. And this is my thing to Quad. Because this season, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, it's affected Quad and I's personal relationship greatly. Like, we're not talking, but we haven't talked in a while over my views about her marriage on this show. I mean, I'm telling y'all some of my real personal business. We haven't talked because we had a conversation about some things that I said and she did not like it, and I did not back down a pussy pet or pussy pop. But here's my message to Quad. While none of us are privy to your personal business, and while none of us deserve or it's our right to know what's going on behind closed doors, you cannot give people incomplete information and expect them to draw the same conclusion that you have. Okay? Now that this shit has come to light with Dr. G, and whatever it is he did with another female in that hotel room, it makes a lot of this make sense now. Now I understand greater why you're so upset, why you're so detached. Don't touch me. Fuck you. Now I get it. Without that tidbit of information, Miss Quad, it had people looking at you like, we're not understanding. We're not understanding. You're living the good life. You're complaining about the man taking out the garbage. And I done been to your house. Quad garbage can is right there. And the garage is 5 feet away. For the life of me, I was like, girl, if your husband ain't taking out the garbage, fuck it. Just realize in this marriage, you're gonna have to take out the damn garbage. But now that this shit has come to light, it's got me totally reevaluating everything. And I'm like, okay, that was one of the missing puzzle pieces that makes her frustration make sense. Because I'm gonna tell you something. No matter how progressive that we get, I think overall society still governs women and their thoughts of women like shit. Like my grandma used to say, if he ain't whooping your ass, you better stay with him. Which was code for, ain't none of it gonna be perfect. And you living a very good life. And if the only thing you got to worry about is taking out garbage or your husband being absent, then compared to most women, your ass is doing all right. And I really do feel like that's why Quad caught a lot of judgment, because people is like, bitch, you basically in a situation where you basically get to keep all your money and live a decent life, and this man ain't really bothering you. What is the problem? That really is how people view the shit. And who give a damn that the man don't want to spend no time and support you? Girl, take your check, go be fabulous, and go live the good life. That really is how people look at Quad's situation. Hell, I ain't gonna lie, we friends. And I looked at the shit like that for a long time. I was like, bitch. I mean, cause bitch, I know bitches that's going through the same goddamn thing Quad going through, bitch, and the lights barely staying on. So, you know, not to say that somebody else's bad situation should be the gradient by which she should grade her marriage, but long story short, this little infidelity or potential infidelity situation just shed a lot more light onto their situation. And now I can be a little more sympathetic to some of the things Quad is saying. Nonetheless, Married to Madison, y'all, them hoes is bringing it. Married to Madison is the #1 reality TV show this television season. Okay, I don't care what nobody say, it is. They brought the realest, most real, non-forced, non-scripted. The producers on this show, y'all had an easy season because these hoes had a lot going on and they realized all y'all had to do was sit back and film it. Nonetheless, we gonna see what season part 3 got to bring. Y'all keep doing what you're doing. Now that I got this out the way, bitch, I'm finna go down to the bar with the rich cars and fuck forever. I'll call you later, girl. Bye.